Death, and Robots is one of the best anthologies streaming at the moment. The first season blew me away, especially because I was attending art school at the time, so seeing all of the different styles was truly inspiring. Each episode of this over-the-top animated shorts anthology series varies widely in tone, subject, and style. This helps to keep your attention, but makes it harder to pin down in comparison to other notable anthologies. From hyper-realistic neo-cyberpunk pit fights to tales of sentient yogurt, each episode has at least something that stands out as remarkable. For that very reason, I binged every episode and rated them along with the recent volume being released, and I'm going to rank them from my least to personal favorites. Before I begin, I'd like to say that I don't think there's one bad episode on this list. The lowest I'd rate was just below a 5. Some are average and some are extremely exciting. I'm just going off of personal enjoyment, so don't get pissy. Now let's get to it. For something lovingly crafted frame by frame, the end result feels terribly cheap in my opinion. Add in cliche dialogue, juvenile one-liners, and a few cringe moments, and you've got a remarkably difficult short film to enjoy. Actually feels like it was written by a group of 14-year-old boys. Outside of the animation, this was frankly embarrassing. I usually don't care if the characters curse a lot, but this was just written for shits and giggles. I don't remember much from this short. I felt like I was going to fall asleep the entire time. It just ran slow for me, and while I saw many people enjoying it online, it fell flat on my end. In a world that we see so little of, so many ideas are introduced with zero elaboration. Body modifications, frost whales, unnamed hallucinogens. What else is there to explore in this world? Then it just ends without any real message to share or closure for our characters. I love the 2D style, but besides that, it didn't really intrigue me enough to revisit. All of these shorts I've given extra points to because of the incredible animation, but the constant photorealism as the main purpose of this short instead of the story really hurts it, where I don't see myself ever revisiting it in the future. Though generally very solid, the double whammy of getting lost and almost being left behind is a tangible threat that goes well with its otherworldly form. This could have done with a tad more subtlety. The ravenous monsters populating its central setting and the exposition dump only to serve to deflate the unnerving premise and well-crafted isolation. The sequel to the popular 3 Robots episode of Love, Death, and Robots, 3 Robots, Exit Strategies, tries to be funny and edgy but falls flat on its face. I never was a fan of the cat story plot at the end of the first one, and ending this one just the same put it low on my list. What could have been a goofy, humorous short ended up being a lot more interesting than I expected, albeit still goofy. The best part of when Yogurt took over is the playful animation. Here it is. 3 Robots doesn't try to achieve much more than showcasing a good time between 3 robots roaming around an apocalyptic world, ultimately trying to understand human culture as their main vacation activity. Sure, some parts a little cringy, and that ending could have been better, but the humor was really well handled. Ice Age features Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Topher Grace in live-action roles playing brilliantly with the world inside their freezer. Skill and style are put to the test as the little civilization experiences war, technological advancements, and the mysteries of the distant future in a matter of hours. It may not be the best in Love, Death, and Robots, but the very concept just excites me and I want more. This was a fun little gory comedic story and it did everything it needed to do. It started off boring, then turned into something crazy. The art style is outrageous, with everyone having this bobblehead design. The cat and mouse game is fun and there's a few decent jokes. The music slaps and a fish explodes, so it's a pretty good time. The idea wasn't the most original thing ever, but I still really liked it, and honestly, this short could probably be turned into an entire miniseries. This type of stuff is my happy place. This was another great short film, although it didn't have as much depth. It focused more on the world building aspect, and I enjoyed that all the same. The CGI/animation is scarily realistic, and I agree that Love, Death, and Robots needs to broaden the animation more, but the CGI in this is unreal. This was actually better than I remembered. I guess you could say I'm into the exaggerated blood and violence, but I also forgot this was a vampire story before I watched it again. I respect that. It's a pretty unique take on Dracula, another stylized take, and I'm here for it. This is a short that stuck with me. Suits is very cozy in a way. The simple animation and warm colors make it seem like something I'd like to watch in the winter. Nice that the ending was relatively happy despite the fact that there's an apocalypse and the never-ending battle with rip-off alien monsters that will continue. I only love this short as much as I do because of the sheer amount of potential it has to be a standalone series. I can't understand why people don't enjoy this more. It's silly, it's goofy, completely ridiculous in every way, and not every joke lands, but it's a good time. Sure, it isn't as complex as most of the other stories, but for the little amount of runtime it has, it's pretty intense and captivating for what's going on. All Through the House made me very uncomfortable, seeing two polar opposite ideas put together in such a jarring way, but at the same time that it makes it work so well. The puppetry animation mixed with the excellent monster effects were great, and the end actually left me thinking, glad that we got the outcome that we did. Night of the Mini Dead is a very unique, cool premise. It's short and sweet, with some of the most effective comedy of the whole series thus far. I'd love to see this type of short again. Swarm is a decent short that has some fascinating ideas. The story creates a unique sci-fi setting and goes into some interesting places, but is a little too exposition heavy. This short may have benefited from a longer runtime to explore its setting and characters. Honestly, most of these shorts deserve feature films in my opinion. I never thought a civil war between primitive rats and a scorpion robot would bring any real emotion out of me, but it did. What a gentle meditation on humanity this turned out to be. I can't quite put my finger on it, what makes this stand out so distinctly, and on repeat viewings, it might prove to be entirely skin deep, but there's something moving in its gray, melancholic imagery. From the moment it started, I knew I would love it. I think that this is one of the strongest episodes when it comes to showing a relationship of opposites, organic and tech, and does a better job at quick world building as opposed to some of the other episodes. This dark episode tells us the submersive story of a man trapped in a strange simulation that almost immediately seems too good to be true. The voice actors give deep layers of emotion and voice performances, while the visual effects act brilliantly to snap us between the pristine simulation and the terrifying real world. An ominous soundtrack shrouds the episode in a bleak atmosphere that is haunting to watch and leaves us trying to find the light in the dark. Many people's favorites, you cannot deny the sheer artistic ability that is put into this short. Some of the sleekest animation I've ever seen, the fabric flowing, the reflections on the latex, the stylized cartoonish moments, it just entrances you from the moment it begins to the moment it ends. This episode touches on sacrifice, humanity's desire to win warfare no matter the cost, coupled with human resilience. This episode was mesmerizing to watch from the beginning. You are attracted to the characters and the story they follow. This episode is such an exciting ride, in that final act, it's movie quality. Good Hunting's story is tragic. Sexual assault is a point of contention and entertainment. Some people say it shouldn't be censored, others say it's unnecessary or traumatic. I think this executes it perfectly. You don't have to see anything like that, but it's an apparent conflict that fuels Yen's desire for revenge, and it's one of those shorts that deserves a feature film all on its own. Not the best story-wise, but this one has stuck with me ever since the first viewing. A beautiful animated piece of surrealism. The style was jaw-dropping the first time I saw it, and the shots are nicely framed. Besides the main storyline, the colors are the most memorable thing about this short film. They popped and meshed together in a beautiful work of art. It's like a painting. This film was a moment of peace, wonder, and serenity, ending quicker than it begun. The world building in this short is top class. Pop Squad, we understand perfectly by the end not only how this society functions, but also people's place in it, and why everyone is in the position that they're in. Speaking of people, the characters resonate with us and their motivations are completely understandable. You know your show has done something right when you sympathize with a man who murders 2 innocent children in the first 3 minutes. Our main character has a beautifully executed arc that ends in the perfect place alongside a genuinely heart-wrenching final scene. In Vaulted Halls Entombed is basically a long Call of Duty-esque video game cutscene about soldiers who encounter flesh and everything but bone-eating spiders, or whatever guarding a cave near a tomb holding a Lovecraftian god, demanding what remains of the platoon to release it. Excellent everything. Writing, directing, cinematography, editing, voice acting, animation, art style, Foley work, score. Whew! Everything is excellent in this short. Even the abrupt ending is excellent in my opinion. Don't give me more, leave me in suspense, and In Vaulted Halls Entombed gives me just that. If you know this channel, then you know I love me some werewolves. Shapeshifters is based upon a short story written by Marco Cluse, called on the use of shapeshifters in warfare. It details how werewolves are now being used in military operations around the world and how segregated from the rest of the soldiers, and quite often have to work in secret. Not only are they looked down upon despite having much better combat abilities than a majority of the cast, but they are feared as well. The final fight between Decker and the Elder Werewolf is animated grotesquely as all hell. The transformations are unique too. I love the serious amount of realistic gore that we see in this short, from the bodies of the soldiers that were mauled to the wounds our protagonist suffers in his fight. I need a movie about this. I realized while writing this list how much I enjoyed the 3D animation style episodes. I love the abstract 2D ones, but the stories really stuck out to me in this art style. Morally gray pirates are a hard genre to sell, so I'm not surprised at the outcome. But I am shocked at the way it was written. I'm not a linguistic person. All I can really say is that I really liked this one. It was simple. Of all the episodes, this was one of the easiest to digest. David Fincher knows how to make a story, and it's never lost on people what he's trying to say and do, so God bless that he produces this whole series. I remember watching Volume 1 with my best friend Chris one day, and ZIMA Blue had our jaws dropped by its beauty. A unique style of animation from Passion Animation Studios immediately sets the tone for this interesting, introspective episode of a machine-turned-man on a quest to understand the cosmos through art. Richardson excels as the looming ZIMA Blue, delivering his lines as emotionless as a machine but as commanding as a world-famous artist. The narrative is clever and oddly beautiful, as are the examples of breathtaking art we are shown throughout. It's a powerful representation of life and legacy, and it's one of my favorite shorts of the series. I've never seen a piece of art so unabashedly itself, so unafraid to be ugly. Easily the best episode of Volume 3 and of all Love, Death, and Robots. You want to look away, but you are too entranced by the siren and her fluid movements. The camera zooming and blurring, as seen in the Witness short, provided this unreal sense of reality that one made the story that much more unnerving. The dance between Jabaro and the siren was beautifully feral, 2 predators stalking each other, feasting with their eyes, absolutely tantalizing. It's fitting that this is the last episode of Volume 3 and the final one of my binge. It was my only one to get the rating of 10 out of 10 on my list, and I believe it is the best episode of Love, Death, and Robots. Tune in every Friday for new movie videos. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below what other movies you would like me to do videos on. Thank you, Mom, for editing the scripts for my movie essays. I appreciate you. Till next time, thanks for watching. Catch you on the flip side.